Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I have been a bad boy. I have been very naughty indeed. The last part of the Guitar Souls episode is still yet to go up, and it's going up now obviously, but when it came to me editing it, I realised that I had somehow accidentally deleted the footage for it. This, to me, was a disaster. How can you put a video on YouTube and not have footage? I didn't want to just play the audio, so I figured I needed to be punished. And the only punishment that I could see fitting was to be slapped in the face, because I know people that watch this channel think that I have a slappable face, and many of you have probably wanted to see me be slapped in the face. So what I'm going to do now, I'm really not looking forward to this, is I'm going to have my good buddy Mike and co-host on the Guitar Souls slap me in the face, and I will loop that footage for the entirety of the video so you can get some sort of enjoyment out of it. And I have no doubt in my mind that this will be the most popular video I ever upload. So yeah, without further ado, Mike, do you want to say hi?
Hi guys, and just for the record, I'm not really that willing a participant. I'd rather not slap him in the face, but he's insistent and it's my one shot, so fuck it.
So I'm going to put the microphone somewhere under my face so we can really hear this. I can't really back out, can I?
I'll do anything for fame.
So which side's the hand coming in? Yeah.
The primary hand as well. I'm sorry, Levi.
No, that's not a slap. Do it.
I think he's wanting me to fucking ruin him.
More.
You're getting off at this?
Yeah.
Is that enough?
One more, and I want you to try and take my head off.
No.
My wife slaps me harder than that.
She's allowed to. I don't know how the fuck he's enjoying this, because I'm not. I'm sorry, mate.
Right in the ear. Enjoy the Guitar Souls, episode 9.
Yes.
We won't start out with the race part of things. There's been a lot of Guns N' Roses developments. Last episode, we talked about the 31st anniversary Appetite for Destruction box set, and we guessed the prices.
I've never spoke about that yet. That's good.
Yeah. What did you guess, Mike?
That was $200, and you were guessing what, $5?
I guessed $500.
And it was what, $1,100?
$1,000. £850. So we were a little bit out on the price. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
For some replica fucking ticket stubs and stickers and
the album is going to be
rings.
Available digitally. Whether or not you'll get all of the unreleased tracks, I don't know. But so there's the first thing to talk about: the unreleased tracks. Usually, when you see stuff like that, just not interested. Would you like what unreleased? What different takes, different mixes? Like
if it didn't make it for the first cut, can it be that good?
They have released one of the unreleased tracks, and it's called, not that one, Shadow of Your Love. It's not the worst.
It's actually alright.
Yeah. I know why it didn't make the album. You just listen to it and you go, alright, it's not up to Appetite.
But it's not bad, and it's still Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, exactly.
So there'll be an appeal for people to have it.
It's still a late 80s Guns N' Roses track. So,
and there's a good bit of attitude in it. I mean, it's a good track.
This is probably the best of the unreleased tracks you would expect, though. So
imagine this was the worst of them, and you're then questioning why the fuck did they put all that in Appetite?
Yeah,
not to see it happening, but
so I'm really interested to see how these tracks pan out. Now there might be some interesting stuff on there. Totally interested in hearing these songs. That was going to be a great segue into the song that's been removed, but there's one other point. So not criticism, the feedback, or people guessing on the prices. They were like, how much are they charging for this ridiculous box set? For that same money, I could get a VIP experience at one of their gigs and just hang out with them all. And my first thought was, you probably couldn't. I think a VIP experience at a Guns N' Roses gig is probably going to be very expensive, like a lot more expensive than that. So I thought I'd look into it, right? And it turns out it's even worse than that. So on the upcoming tour, you've got VIP packages. There's 3 different tiers, I believe. 4 different tiers.
4. And just to name the actual tour, it's called Not in This Lifetime Tour.
Yeah. You've got the Welcome to the Jungle Ultimate Package, the Golden Circle with early entry, hot tickets, and Paradise City VIP party packages. Wow. So, yeah. Saying that, it seems this one is a top priced ticket. Oh yeah, no, they're all just top price. Okay, cool. Anyway, so the Welcome to the Jungle Ultimate Package. Now this package includes Standard ticket in the Golden Circle with VIP riser access to see Guns N' Roses live in concert. You'd expect that.
Yeah, good view. Okay.
Go behind the scenes and ask a select member of the Guns N' Roses crew what it takes to put on an elaborate production like this.
So you get to ask someone who's not in the band about logistics.
Things that you probably don't care about as well.
I fucking can't wait to speak to that roadie and ask him, how many amps do you need to log in at night?
Yeah.
How long do you leave those valve amps to cool down before you put them back in the van? What's your favourite type of flight case?
Yeah. Most Guns N' Roses fans aren't going to care, are they?
Most people are not going to care.
Early entry.
I don't think he will. Or she, not being sexist.
Early entry before the standard Golden Circle ticket holders. I mean...
Doesn't make a difference because you've already got a VIP riser access.
Yep.
So, okay.
Come and go as you wish from the Golden Circle to the VIP riser all night. So hang on, you're telling me that I've paid for this thing and I'm allowed to come and go as I please?
Can't believe they let you go in and out because you've got a ticket and you've paid for admission.
Yeah, you're paying for your freedom. Exclusive access to the elevated VIP riser located on the field with an unobstructed view of the stage. Riser includes complimentary bar with beers and wine.
Subject to local alcohol laws. Complimentary drinks not available in Oslo.
Yeah.
Because the cost of fucking alcohol in Oslo is insane.
Yeah. So here's the best though, right? Go on stage before the show for a group photo opportunity. Asterisk. No band members included in the onstage photo. So what? You're just going to take a picture of yourself on a stage that Guns N' Roses get to play on? I think people can probably see where we're going with this. A souvenir Guns N' Roses laminate,
which you would expect if you bought any VIP package.
A limited edition Guns N' Roses VIP gift pack.
Again, as the standard.
A VIP commemorative ticket. And on-site event staff. Wow, okay.
For an ultimate package, there seems to be one ultimate thing fucking missing.
Yeah. You don't get to meet anyone in the band.
I meant special toilets. No, that is fucking scandalous. And worse is when you look at the fucking price.
So let's say we want to go check them out in
Leipzig in Germany, right? Fairly moderate place in general.
1,149 euros.
Per person.
Per person. 1,149 euros per person. What's that in dollars? You keep talking.
I think you're going to be somewhere in the region of $1,600. I don't think you'll be far off that. So, for the privilege of what essentially is a moderately priced used car,
$1,350.
Just what?
For an ultimate VIP experience where you don't get to meet anyone.
And you get a couple of beers and a lanyard. Oof, fuck me, sign me up.
You would need to eat. There's no eating. There's no food. You would need to drink a lot of complimentary drinks to make that worthwhile. Just astonishing. Absolutely astonishing.
But you get a special rise on the VIP area of the Golden Circle. What are you talking about?
The thing is, the sad part about this is it makes it cost prohibitive to fans. And obviously we know this shit anyway. But a tour like this should be for the fans. Not for the people that are fortunate enough to have enough money to go, oh, that legendary band Guns N' Roses is doing a tour, we should just go down to that because so we can say we were there. Like with the Led Zeppelin reunion thing, I can't remember when that was, the O2 thing. 2008 maybe? That was the kind of thing where people were buying tickets to that because it was history, just to say I was there.
Definitely. I mean, I remember people having fucking bootleg copies of it. I hadn't seen a fucking bootleg DVD copy of anything since about fucking 2005.
Yeah.
People fucking pirating Shrek and shit. Do you know what I mean? That shit didn't happen. But apparently it did.
Yeah.
What gets me, right, it's just the cheek of it. You are releasing or re-releasing and doing this big tour about a re-release of this legendary album and fucking over the very people that probably listen to it, as you're talking about there. It's price prohibitive.
Yeah.
The people that bought it originally, that have probably played the fucking record, the tape, CD to death.
I've played my CD of Appetite so much so that I had to buy another copy of it because I wore the CD out.
If a laser that's reading a disc and not writing to it burns it out, you've usually used it a few times.
Yeah.
And to then. I mean, how much are
it could've just
stand-up
got-
tickets to the gigs?
Could have just got scratched in transit, to be fair. But let's have a look. If we even can.
But CDs are
dunno.
quite hard wearing, though. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't.
Oh, I've scratched a fair few CDs in my time.
Well, haven't we all, man? I lived through the days of having a PlayStation. That shit was unavoidable to some degree.
Yeah. So should we jump onto the hot topic?
I'll let you lead, sir.
Yeah. So
Devil's advocate.
I'm just going to point this out in terms of strong language. I'm not going to drop any N-bombs on this because I don't want this video being banned. So I'm going to say bleep. Anytime... This actually, we'll obviously get on the policing language thing. When you say to someone the F word, that's the same as saying fuck. Because the moment you say the F word,
You've already
guess what
said
they
it.
hear?
Yes.
So when I say the N word,
You know exactly the word the connotations
it's
are
the same
of.
as me saying it. So yeah, but just to avoid my channel getting any issues, because YouTube is a scary place right now, I'm going to avoid saying it. Don't have any issue with saying it when used in the correct context. When used in a context that isn't a descriptive context of things that are happening. So I don't mind reading the word, but yeah. Anyway, so Guns N' Roses to remove the song "One in a Million" from the album reissue due to racist and homophobic slurs. So yeah, the song "One in a Million" from GNR Lies, they're taking that off the re-release. And to me, that is astonishing. That's crazy. I'm going to read why. So in the lyrics, the uncensored lyrics, Axl says, "Police and bleep, that's right, get out of my way, don't need to buy none of your gold chains today." It gets bad here. Immigrants and faggots, they make no sense to me. They come to our country and they think they'll do as they please, like start a mini Iran or spread some fucking disease. Awful. Like, awful.
As hateful as you can actually put most things without more or less directing it at one person, I think.
It's bigoted views, and honestly, we probably differ on this. I think that his views have probably changed now. I think
I'd like to think so, but
he was a young, angry kid when he wrote stuff like that.
Just knowing Axl Rose's reputation throughout all of the time that he's ever been in public light, I don't think he is a leopard who can change his spots. Much the same as Phil Anselmo.
But then we have to look at it then and say then he can't really feel these things because Slash is half black and an immigrant, and alright, he's not been in the band for a long time. Maybe that's why they fell apart. But Guns N' Roses' current drummer is a black guy, so he doesn't have a hatred of black people.
Not that he makes completely obvious, but you'll never know.
Well, then if he does have a hatred of black people, he has no integrity to stick behind his views. And we know
I don't think that a lot of people who have racist tendencies are people that you would really describe as having integrity anyway. But do you mean like stick with their views and that's how I feel and that's the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's continue.
I
Sorry.
think that's what integrity means.
I'd like to think so.
Sticking to your views, regardless of whether you're right or wrong. If you're wrong and you still stick to your views, then you have integrity. Your own integrity.
I don't think that's integrity, mate. I think that's ignorance.
Yeah, but you're sticking to your principles regardless.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Doesn't make you right.
No, let's go. I get you.
Yeah, so honestly, like I'm making an assumption. I'm giving the guy the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he probably doesn't feel that way anymore. And actually, we can demonstrate that he probably doesn't feel that way anymore because back in the day, he defended this in interviews. He said, why can black people go around and call each other bleep? When a white guy does it, all of a sudden it's a big put down. I don't like the boundaries of any kind. I don't like being told what I can and can't say. I use the word bleep because it's a word to describe somebody that is basically a pain in your ass, a problem. The word bleep doesn't necessarily mean black. Like he's defending, he's digging his heels in there, and
he's also misunderstanding the word.
Yeah, totally full of shit there. And as this article goes on, Slash chimes in and says that we talked about it and it was actually a big point of contention between us back in the day.
Yep.
But the more we discussed it and argued about it, the more Axl dug his heels in and insisted that it went on. So what that says to me is back then he didn't mind digging his heels in. So if he hasn't mellowed out a bit and realised actually this doesn't paint me in a great light, I'm a bit misguided, I've grown up, my views have changed a bit, I'm a wiser man now, he would have just dug his heels in as much now. I'm sure he would. That is a man that if when he wants to dig his heels in, they're dug in.
Yes, he's headstrong is a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
A lunatic.
Not wrong either.
So, yeah, what do you think about this?
Well, I think you already know my thoughts. I think that...
I know, but they don't.
Okay. I meant everyone, actually, considering how we've spoken about it so far. I think that, to start for the start, some fucking horrendous lyrics with nothing but malice involved. Who it was directed at, whether it was individuals or a group, I don't think really matters. The context is that it was still said that way, and I think him defending it was... I might understand why he defended it if his intention wasn't to offend or upset a greater group of people, but that certainly didn't come across that way when he was trying to explain it by basically...
Just made it worse.
Unexplaining and proving that he didn't understand the origins of the word and what it actually means.
Mm-hmm.
The main word being bleep, to put that in context, because obviously he uses other slurs as well. I don't know if I'm comfortable with it, and we had a very interesting conversation on freedom of speech, and I think that the ending point was that freedom of speech should be an absolute, but it's not freedom from consequence.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't really know. Like, is the consequence that the record label has at the point of re-release went, nah, you're not putting that out, or is Axl?
Unfortunately, we live in a country whereby we don't have a constitution.
You're right. We don't have free speech.
Yeah, we don't actually have freedom of speech. We don't enjoy it in the same way Americans do.
Nope.
We have freedom of expression to a degree, but it's not nearly as protected. But I think as
soon as you infringe on anything that could be considered hate speech, whether that's correct or incorrect, you're in the grey area of whether the court wants to bumfuck you or not.
Yeah. But I think you and I both agree we're pretty pro free speech advocates.
Absolutely. Like I think it's a common sense approach, and as I say, that doesn't mean freedom of consequence. You should be allowed to challenge views.
Yep. And
that should then be the norm. Should be that for your action there is an equal and opposite reaction.
To me, it's obvious. That's obvious. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that I can say whatever I want and I'm free of consequence. It only means I can say whatever I want without fear of the government without having my freedoms taken away.
Yeah, you're going to be put in jail for having an opinion.
But if I say something racist and you find what I say offensive and you don't want to associate with me or do business with me or anything like that, then again, that's you're free to do that.
One is fascism and one is not.
Yes.
Simply put.
Yeah. So I look at this entire situation, and there's parts of me take issue. But the parts I take issue with is preservation of what happened. This did happen.
Yes.
This song happened, and it was released, and it was part of this album, and we're now celebrating this album by re-releasing it.
Oh yeah.
Release it in its original form, because nobody's going to listen to this and think to themselves, you know what? I agree with Axl. I mean, some people may, but this isn't a recruitment rally. No one's going to listen to this and have their mind changed.
Not just that, there'll be people who heard it originally that didn't think that way. They're not going to change their mind because it's a now upgraded master of it.
Yeah,
it's been in public domain and still is public domain for all the original copies since then. I
heard this song when I was a kid, and that just blew over my head. Didn't really pay any mind to it, right? Because I was just wanting to hear some cool guitar playing. But now, if this album came out and I got to listen to this album in its entirety and that was there, that lyric is going to hit and I'm going to think to myself, ooh, that's not cool. But I think that's really important. You have to expose yourself to these things that we think aren't cool. We're only protecting people's feelings by removing it. Let people know that back in the day, Axl Rose, bit of a racist arsehole.
Bet.
Yeah. bit of a racist asshole. We
But
can't
bit
just
of a, just a, not even racist, just a generally bitter against the world, horrible human being. He's picked quite a lot of like vulnerable groups, especially in that time as well, to just target and use his platform, which must have been massive at that time, very negatively.
Yeah, which is just a dickish thing to do, and plenty of people do that. But
here's a question, right? I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's fine.
Was there much of a kick up about it at the time? Like, obviously, you're getting the opinion from Axl Rose and Slash, but...
Well, the fact that he was interviewed in Rolling Stone in 1989 addressing the lyrics in the song would suggest that maybe not a big issue, but people certainly...
It was picked up on at least.
Yeah. People,
oh, okay, yep.
People certainly picked up on it. But ultimately, all this thing, what it comes down to for me is like intention. What's intended? Is there malice intended? And even, to be honest, even if there's malice intended, he's still free to say it, and then we're free to judge him accordingly. And by removing it, I think all we've done there is we're not making Axl Rose any less racist.
Nope.
Not that I think Axl was racist, but whoever. And if anything, we're probably going to bring the racist out of the all the racists out of the woodwork, going, oh, we need to band together because, you know, look what's happening, but look what the left are doing to us, kind of thing. Like, you just make people band together and feel like they're being oppressed. So that's not
Wild card is this a publicity stunt? I would like to think it's not.
There's every possibility. I don't mind either way because it means that we've got a good discussion out of it.
I think it'd be very interesting to see the ethics behind it being a publicity stunt and discussing that in itself, but we'd never know.
The reason I say intent and things like that is stuff like this comes up from time to time. Like Amazon banned all sales of anything that have the Confederate flag on it, right?
Which perfectly into what we were talking about earlier as well.
Yeah, and it's almost like I planned it this way.
Almost, like that was almost a segue there.
Yeah. And I take issue with that because I don't like these arguments that you see with people where they say, oh, but the American Civil War wasn't about slavery. It wasn't just about slavery, but slavery was one of the big driving forces of the American Civil War. But I don't feel then that means that the Confederate flag is a sign of racism, because I like the Confederate flag. I don't like racism. I like the Confederate flag. I don't like slavery. I like Leonard Skinner. I grew up listening to a lot of Skinner, right? So I'm used to, whenever I see the Confederate flag, I think of Skinner. In the same way that I think a lot of the people that are listening to this, or at least a lot of my friends that are more metal fans, when they see the Confederate flag, they think Dimebag.
Yep. Or Pantera in general. There's quite a lot of Pantera merchandise and their own marketing imagery that was revolving around the Confederate flag. Dime had a fucking Confederate flag guitar. And
I could be totally wrong, right? Dimebag could have had that Confederate flag guitar because he wanted to proudly wear on his sleeve that he hates black people, right? Could be. Probably not, but could be.
I would say it's more probable than probably not, considering his heritage and where he's from.
But again, just because you're from a place, that's like Brad Paisley.
I know, but I'm going more with the association of the things that happened throughout Pantera's career, after Pantera's career, and with Dimebag with other projects. Rebel meets Rebel with David Allan Coe, who is a very well-known, horrendous, racist fucking piece of shit, covering Ted Nugent songs, Cat Scratch Fever. Maybe a bit of a far-fetched link, but Ted Nugent's also a fucking wank. You know what I mean? The kind of guy that talks about how we need to go to war and don't attack my freedoms, and was a fucking scab and avoided the draft by shitting himself and all this weird, just like an actual song called Jailbait, that man is a proud and literal paedophile, and people still seem to not address this. What the fuck? But we'll move past that again. But just like, and Phil Anselmo's quite obviously racist as fuck, as it seems to have transpired. Whether he wants to pretend that's in the past or just like even control these feelings and have them in his gut, like if that's how he feels, no one can change that. But his actions are deplorable. And I think, unfortunately, part of his feelings are shared with the rest of the band, and I mean that as well because Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul's dad was one of the most legendary country studio engineers of that time, and that's how they linked up with David Allan Coe, etc. So there's got to be more.
But regardless,
environmental link.
Regardless,
I
I see Dimebag with a Confederate flag guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I decide I want a Confederate flag guitar. That's for no reason other than I love Dimebag.
Oh, that's different. That's a completely different context. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that people who have bought the Confederate flag guitar or Pantera merchandise with that on it are... I think I've got mates who've had Pantera stuff, and myself as well. I don't think I've had any Confederate flag stuff, thankfully. But they probably don't even know the actual proper or why the Confederate flag is such a strong symbol, or the meaning behind it, or the history behind it. I certainly didn't until recently.
But
that doesn't make you racist.
We don't. We fly under a Scotland flag, but technically we should be flying under the Union Jack, right, or the Union flag if we want to be accurate.
But we don't. We're under the Saltire.
Right? But that's a sign of oppression to many people the world over.
Very true, including the Scots.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why we use the Saltire.
Yeah, the American flag is a sign of oppression to many people. So I look at the Confederate flag and I say, is this just victors writing the history books?
But victors always write the history books.
Yeah, but we should be a little bit smarter than that, than to look at the Confederate flag and go, the only reason someone would fly this is because they're a racist. There will be, don't get me wrong, racists are going to fly the Confederate flag as a sign of, like...
Yeah, but I think it's a wee bit...
pro-Confederacy, but...
I think it's a wee bit different from that. I think it's the viewpoint on it isn't that, this flag, like all flags, are a sign that the victor wrote history. I think it's more so that, especially in America, considering there is such constant struggle for people of colour, black people, pretty much any racial minority or victimised groups, just never ever getting a break, like ever. But the focus on that being people actually being educated and constantly, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, like exposed to that horrible social construct. I think the point of contention with that is that you should know better, because it's a conversation that's been ongoing for the last 60, 70 years. It's never went away. It's not going to go away because it's still here. We have to address it. And I think that's probably why people get pissed off about the idea and upset. And I think quite rightly, actually, that the Confederate flag is still being ignorantly used, if you know what I mean. I don't think everybody's of that same ilk.
Yep.
But I think the backlash isn't that it's just because that's what it symbolises. I think it's because you should know better, because this isn't like a quiet conversation. This is very public. This is the kind of shit that people are talking about day in, day out.
Yep. But it's a huge part of Southern culture.
You're right, but
and
people doesn't make it good.
People are proud of their culture, proud of where they're
especially
from.
The Deep South, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, this idea that we want to try and ban it, I can't get on board with, because again, it's that idea of policing thought.
Yeah. But
I want to fly a Confederate flag, again, because I'm a Skinner fan, and I can't stress that enough. I listen to so much Skinner. I only own 2 records, like actual LP vinyl records.
Right.
One is a Skinner record, and one is an Extreme Noise Terror record, because my dad gave it to me.
That's badass.
I had no interest in getting, because I was buying CDs, but I still made the effort to maintain a record deck just so I could play my one Skinner album.
Okay. Can I just add to the context of you saying that, like, you believe in obviously being able to do that? It's because I know that you are very much an advocate of free speech, in the same sense that you want there to be discourse on it. You want there to be conversation, because you can't change ideologies without discussing it. It shouldn't be that didn't happen, let's wipe it for history. It should always be a case of...
important to remember it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as we were talking about earlier on, like, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
To paraphrase. If you don't understand what happened and accept it and find a way past that and learn from your mistakes, then you're always going to find that those things happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, like, racists will fly a Confederate flag, but that doesn't mean all people that fly a Confederate flag are racists. If you see someone that does have a Confederate flag, don't make an assumption. Find out if this person is a piece of shit, or is there another reason that this person flies this flag? Maybe they have just going back, they lost a lot of family members in the Civil War, like great grandparents. great-great-grandparents, I guess. And they keep the Confederate flag as a reminder of where their family's from. It doesn't mean that they're glorifying it.
But could you not argue that there's better ways to memorialise your family?
Yes, but it's not our right to tell them how they want to memorialise their family.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Because I agree, there are probably much better ways of doing these things.
Yes.
But it's
not about decorum. It's not about.
It's other people deciding the context, and we know that's been a big
the
issue.
intent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This seems to be a very common theme for our conversations when we're talking about what is very subjective matters. It's all context and it's all intent.
Yes. And I get it. Sometimes it's hard to prove people's intent. Dealing with the Count Dankula Marcus thing, like just watching online, I'm fascinated by looking at people having these conversations, and you can see actual frustration in people where they're just desperately trying to explain to people, but he is a racist. I know it's just difficult. It's so difficult to prove his intent, but he is. I know he is, but he's not. Like, he's a close friend.
I think he's one of the most inclusive people I know.
Yeah, totally not a racist.
And I think the calling card is his inclusion is that the amount of people who I would hopefully not speak out of tongue, but say they're probably in, or could be classified as being part of vulnerable groups, that just joke with him about this shit and find it funny. Not to say everyone is the same and everybody should feel the same, but is it not an example that that's not truly how he feels and that was not his intent? If there are people from those affected groups that understand that as well and are happy to engage with him and even joke about the same things.
He was going mad on Twitter the other day because France are looking to are wanting to ban certain sections of the Quran, like remove sections of the Quran and make them illegal to have these things in France. And he's defending Muslims and right to practice the Islam that is true to Islam. And again, that probably really upsets people that want to paint him as being a racist. But
I don't see why that would. How does sticking up for religious rights and saying that
because he do it because
do you mean
I hate it more than anything in the world, right? But if you dislike Islam, you get called a racist. Islam isn't a race, but it's more and more gets treated like a race. So yeah, I hate it.
It's the mislabeling and the constant attack in the media.
Yeah,
it's an easy scapegoat, isn't it?
So
same we're talking about. You can't win a war against an ideology. America done well with the war on terror, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
and drugs.
And drugs.
Yeah, it just yeah, we're going majorly off topic, but
it's still, it's of a similar ilk. Like it's the same.
I just
underpinning theme.
Yeah, I don't think that including this song on the album is gonna keeps racism alive. But I know, you know what? I know you have an interesting story on the Confederate flag and party cannon.
Yes.
So tell it.
Playing in the US last year, I believe it was Chicago Domination Fest, and we shared the stage with our very good friends, Parasitic Ejaculation, on guitar. A young Parker, handsome man. Love you, Parker. Hope you're listening. Very, very forward-thinking people. Like they're as inclusive as they come. They're all from San Francisco, California. So you can imagine everything's about inclusion. I love that about them. They're great people. They stick up for everybody's rights, and they're very vocal about that as well. Again, it's not a shocking thing. The majority of people that I know are not close-minded or stupid or ignorant in that sense, and are quite passionate about. If it affects you, or if it doesn't affect you, why the fuck do you give a fuck about other people's business? Like, it shouldn't have. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Live and let live.
Exactly. Like, but even to simplify it, let's just take gay marriage as an example. People getting all up in arms, oh, it's an atrocity and blah blah blah. Like, right. So how's that affect your life? If you get people in your house that you're not happy with doing things you don't like. No, right, cool. Fuck off then. Who cares?
Also,
shut up.
Marriage is terrible. Marriage is like dangerous. I'm married. I'm allowed to say this.
You are dangerous yourself saying such words.
45% of marriages end in divorce, right? 45%. So that's already the sanctity of marriage has gone down the toilet. Yeah. But you know what that means? That means 55% of all the other marriages end in death. There is no happy ending in marriage. It's either divorce or death.
But if you're going to be so cynical, then there's no happy ending in life.
Yeah, that is true.
Everything is death.
I'm a nihilist. I'll go with that.
That's cool. Right, fair enough.
So sorry, your story.
Sorry. So Parker's on stage in Chicago, doing his thing. Parker's often quite vocal about talking to the crowd and just engaging with people, as he does. He's a very good musician, he's a very good person. And he spotted a chap, and for what I remember, it was like a kind of battle vest. For those of you that are not aware of the terminology battle vest, it's like a leather biker's cut or a denim jacket with band patches and that kind of stuff on it.
Shall I go get mine out?
If you've got one.
I do.
Oh, please don't. I'm only kidding. I think it started off in the punk scene with like fucking pins and patches and whatever else. But anyway, it's quite a common thing in the metal scene as well. I have actually seen some gore grind bands having fans that turned up in house coats with patches on them. Like, I'm not joking. That's my favourite. Like a guy with a full big fuck off like back piece.
I should point out that people listening to this don't know what a house coat is. A dressing gown. Yeah,
a dressing gown, or like I don't even know how else to describe it. Like, that's basically it. Like a dressing gown or a house coat.
I guess another descriptive way would be maybe like an ankle length smoking jacket. If you picture like Hugh Hefner, he wanders around in a house coat.
Right, okay, yeah. So the smoking jacket is actually a really good description. So just like a soft kind of wearable blanket almost for lounging at home, or if you're going out to the garden but you're still in your pyjamas or nightwear. Anyway, to go back to the story.
The battle vest.
Parker spots this gentleman who was, credit to the guy, he was front and centre. He was at the front of the stage watching the band. I hadn't witnessed anything happening with him or without him or whatever, but Parker called him out on stage because he was wearing a Confederate flag bandana and he had it over his head. And he was basically just saying, like, for what I remember, it was quite heated, but Parker is often like that, and I do respect him for it, but I don't know if it was maybe just a bit presumptuous. Mm-hmm. But basically his point was, that is, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as a lot of other people are concerned, a sign of hate. It's a symbol of hate, and it's not welcome here. It's not welcome in this community. We don't want that kind of ideology. Whether that's the ideology or not, we don't want that to be associated with us. And it's not heritage, it's hate, was what he said, if I remember exactly. And basically got really pissed off that this guy was wearing this flag. I think to the point where he called the guy out to take it off. Now, I don't think it happened afterwards, and there wasn't any words beyond the gig. So some technical difficulties, a couple of dogs. But it was interesting to see that, because that's my first example of Teddy, of like that kind of confrontation.
Did the guy take it all right?
I don't remember him taking the bandana off, but I also don't remember him like making a point of keeping it on. I think he basically just played it off.
Yep.
As I say, I don't remember exactly what happened afterwards, but it was just really interesting to watch.
It's a sticky one, because I think in a scenario like that, I think there's three types of people. There's the person that you want him to be, where he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't even think about it." Like,
yeah,
again,
if that's like, how you see it.
Grew up listening to Pantera, like it's part of heritage, yeah. But if it's offending you, totally wasn't my intention. Cool, take it off. All the best, kind of thing. Then you've got the person that's going to dig their heels in and go, "Fuck you! I hate the North. The South will rise again. You don't tell me what to do." Those are the assholes. Those are people you want to weed out from the community. Then you get the people that are probably a little bit more like me, that are like, "Well, I'm really sorry I've offended you. I genuinely am. I didn't intend to offend you. Slavery, terrible. Love the coalition between the North and South. Love the fact that we're one. Love all people of all colours, all creeds, all backgrounds. But please don't tell me what to do." That's why I was interested to know what he'd where
we went from that. Well, unfortunately, a bit of an anticlimax, because I don't remember exactly what the outcome was, but the significant majority of people that I know who were at the crowd, that I've got as friends on Facebook or I spoke to afterwards, were in support of Parker. No one really said, "Well, that guy might not have meant that," or whatever. And I think that's what when I was talking about the context being different from here, to the conversation being a lot different in the States over that flag, where my understanding of it comes from might be that, because I don't really know anyone who would defend it. But I get that your point isn't defending the flag, it's defending the right to free speech, that you can do, wear, say, act however you want.
or just don't put intention on me. Don't look at don't give my actions context that isn't there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. I'll throw in one last story then, just to close this up. Similar racists at gigs. You may have heard this story before, but I do like telling this. So when I was in New York last, it lined up perfectly that I saw Van Halen while I was out there, but I also saw Jimmy Herring. Now, one of the albums
you were more excited about seeing Jimmy Herring than
I was more excited about seeing. Jimmy
Herring, I remember you basically like, I can't fucking.
Well, only because
this.
I was going over to see Van Halen, so I was prepared for that. But when it turned out Jimmy Herring was in town at the same time,
not quite an intimate gig as well.
Yeah,
I remember that. I think that was your excitement of it.
Brooklyn Bowl. And he was playing with the Aquarium Rescue Unit, and I was really excited to go and see that gig. So I did go and see that gig. Went down with Tom Monder and Ben from Thank You Scientist. Drank a bit much. Ben's a very friendly person and made me take my shirt off, and he took his shirt off, and then we went around dancing shirtless. And I'm not the kind of person you want to see without a shirt on.
I disagree.
So very strange, and the band was getting some strange looks from the band, but we weren't getting the strangest looks in the night actually, because I turned around and there was a Klan member there. There was actually a KKK member at the gig, and we know he was a KKK member because he was in full garb. He didn't have the hood up; the hood was down, but he had Yeah, I know. As strange as that sounds, right?
Why have you never told me this story before?
Have I not told you that?
What the fuck?
Yeah. And everyone just gave him a wide berth. He was just there on his own, and I felt kind of bad for him because he just looked really miserable and really sad and alone. But at the same time, that's the consequence of you exercising your right to free speech. The consequence of that is people think you're a piece of shit and they don't want to associate with you.
And that's the clever, peaceful demonstration that we kind of spoke over earlier on.
Yeah. And still a strange one though, because the bass player in the band was a black guy, so he must have been raging. Both the bass player and the I can't remember who was on bass. I feel terrible for saying that now, but yeah, some do. I was just there to see Jimmy Herring, but yeah. So there you go. Racism apparently still alive and kicking in the States.
I'd like to think otherwise, considering the amount of people I know who are vehemently against this kind of shit, but let's face facts, there's always going to be people oppressed, and unfortunately the people who've been oppressed the longest are generally the ones that get it the most. Yeah.
People should take everything that has been said in this section with a huge pinch of salt, because we're talking out of order. We're talking about a culture that we're not a part of, and
I don't have any lived experience of that.
Racism in general is a very difficult thing. It's easier for me spending most of my life in London, but living in Scotland,
it's not all that common, I don't think. And to Scotland's credit, I think that the mentality here is that if you're not fucking with me, I don't give a shit what you're doing. You do your own thing, I'll do mine. Point is, it's a very Scotland is a very welcoming country. Nice people. Having said I'd like to think so.
It seems that it's not a massively multicultural society because people don't want to move to Scotland because the weather's terrible and
I mean, let's be honest.
Misery.
There's probably people that are like coming here from Syria and going, fuck, I'd rather just be back. Like, I know that sounds like a bit of a dark joke, but like, I don't even mean that like as it being funny, because it can be like, but as much as we are a welcoming people, the government and the socio-economic climate.
That's a good way of putting it. It's one of the most beautiful countries.
Beautiful people, but
it's a tough place to live.
The system is shit.
Yeah.
The system is very shit, and there's not a lot of people in Scotland who aren't street smart, if that gives you an indication of how life is here for the most part. Yeah.
So, we apologise if we've upset anyone. We never set out to offend.
Absolutely not. It's mad love for the world.
Yeah. Though I do, sometimes set out to offend. But
but
this genuinely wasn't one of those times. So.
I think you often do that just to be devil's advocate, not to be out of order.
Again, that's kind of the point with all of this. Like, my thought, the reason this shouldn't be taken off is because discussion is really good. And if that means that I need to be the contrarian devil's advocate and take up the counter position just to get people talking and discussing, then that's good. Actually, I will close it with one thought. I did see one of those silly little Facebook videos just recently, and some white nationalist at some university in the States, and he's standing there proud skinhead, and there's this black guy like giving him it hard, giving him all the questions and trying to work out what your issue is, and it ended not the way you'd expect it to with violence. It ended with just the black guy giving him a hug and just giving him a big hug, and the guy broke and hugged him back, and then looked like a broken man. Like he's like, I don't know why I feel this way, but it's not right. And we're all people, and let's all just love each other and be kind and considerate.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. Don't let other people fuck with your shit. Likewise, don't fuck with their shit. Just be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
As Bill and Ted put it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was George Carlin, but...
Yeah. So, we'll close it with that. Be excellent to each other, and...
Bye, fuckers. It's becoming a trademark.
What's that I need to do?
Did you not think at the start?
No.
Have a good blooper.